Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our digital compliance talk from KYC Spider. My name is Stephen Litfer from Story Lead, and I'm joined by KYC Spider's one and only CEO, Bruno Kellenberger. Bruno, welcome.
Hi, Stephen. Welcome. Pleasure being here.
So you came from the big environment to the small environment. Now you can really, sort your plays, do new stuff, funky stuff, cool stuff. What are the couple of things you're working on currently?
I mean, we just launched a solution for crypto compliance. We launched a solution for real enhanced digital signature. We basically improved our toolbox. So there is a lot ongoing in parallel, and I think more than 90% of the time and the energy is really going into the market, down to the ground. So the full horsepower at the end hits the ground, and that's really exciting.
A lot of traction, and today's talk we're going to be talking about fintech in the context of crypto, KYC. Could you give us an example? Why is that really so important nowadays?
Yeah, I mean, we, as you know, from KYC Spider, we are not really focused on a single sector or a single industry, because we are basically trying to digitalize compliance across all needs, and so we are driven by the compliance topic and basically serving all the industries where it's relevant. Now, in the last weeks, I had a lot of talks with clients, existing clients, but also prospects, and I must say roughly half of them are coming from the fintech industry, in particular with regards to the crypto currencies, business around cryptocurrencies, solution around cryptocurrencies. There is a big demand also into our services around KYC and compliance, because those company, I think they want to benefit from the Swiss brand also as a country where a cryptocurrency is accepted as such, and therefore there is a lot of traction going on in the market.
So Switzerland is known as the land of the contented cows, right? So is it also known as the land of the contented regulators, or are people surprised when they sort of hit ground here and see what it's like?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the regulator, I think, learned its lesson from the I would say the crisis 20 years ago in the financial system, and now in the meanwhile it's quite strongly regulated and heavily regulated, and that sometimes comes across as a surprise for players abroad who basically are going to create a company in Switzerland to do crypto business.
What surprises them?
Obviously, one of the key questions usually such companies are in is about the business model. In the sense, usually they don't want to become a wealth manager, or definitely not a bank, but rather playing a role as a software player. On the other hand, dependent on the scenario and the ecosystem in the Swiss market, even as a software player, you might be subject of a certain regulation, in particular around compliance, around know your investors and know your clients. There are quite, I would say, extensive rules there. And so you might start as a software provider, and finally you end up being a kind of a type of wealth manager, following all the respective policies. And that's quite surprising for some of those companies.
So what types of questions would you get from those organizations?
Well, I mean, usually, and to be also honest, we are here positioned rather as a solution provider with regards to all the compliance software pieces. So we are not positioning ourselves as legal advisor there. Obviously, we would leverage our strong partner network to get the right people in there. However, obviously, we are learning with all our clients and with those situations, and typically it's quite as soon as you deal with investors or end clients, you are immediately subject of respective checks. So you must prove that you did identify properly your clients. You must prove that you know them, and you even need to make sure that the source of funds is kind of proper, so there is no money from illegal activities around the world or corruption or whatever involved. And that, I think, to prove and evidence that your investors are kind of clean, that's the key challenge.
Do you ever run checks yourself on your clients?
Yeah, I must say yes. Usually we do, because I mean, it's not really mandatory from a regulator to us, but at the end, I think from a reputation perspective, it's just important that at least we are kind of drinking our own champagne or using our own tools also to check our clients, and we are doing that in the background. Absolutely, yes.
So you're not just looking at fintech and crypto as a domain or a vertical. You're also addressing like gambling and other different domains. Now, where's the steam gauge the highest currently? Where's the most action and the most traction coming from in the market from a KYC perspective?
I mean, right now, thanks also to the, I would say, potentially even to some tweets of Elon Musk and the trend in crypto, I would say the biggest noise and traction is right now in the fintech industry. However, we also see some regulation changes for wealth managers. So there are other drivers as well. And then obviously you just have those large scale businesses like you were mentioning a lottery business or like, where you just need to do your checks and you need to scale up to a huge amount of transactions. And there basically, if I would come from a pure transaction point of view, obviously there we would have much more transactions, while the dynamic and around questions, integration, API, how to connect, how to do so, there most comes right now from the fintech industry.
So, I mean, KYC Spider is not a new player, not a new kid on the block. You've been around for quite a while, and the platform itself has really evolved over the last couple of years, and rapidly evolved. I must say, there's a lot of builds, a lot of new versions coming out. I'd say almost on a daily basis, looking at it. How is like your roadmap going forward? I know you're not going to disclose any details, but going forward, how strong and how fast are you to adapt to those changes coming out of the market? And what would the pipeline, in a fuzzy sense, what would that look like?
Yeah, I mean, as our name says, we initially started everything around know your client, data consolidation, and data science combined with compliance know-how. That's the root, and I would say was the initial purpose of our company. In the meanwhile, I would say we are really playing a role everywhere around digitalization of compliance. So it's not anymore KYC only, but it starts, for instance, with identification, where even today we are already offering video identification through partners, but completely embedded in our ecosystem, up to chatbots for onboarding forms, down to digital signature, even enhanced digital signature is fully available today. And on top, we also launched just a few weeks ago, basically the new service around cryptocurrency compliance, which allows not only the check of clients or investors, but also about basically transactions, whether they have roots in the dark net or whether they are properly basically proper wallets at the end, or whether they are on any blacklist, whether there is something suspicious in there. And that's, for instance, another angle where we are engaging quite heavily. Also here, we are strong believers of an ecosystem. So we are collaborating with Merkle Science, a quite innovative fintech, which is based in Singapore, but also present in the UK and soon in mainland Europe. And they have quite an attractive service around blockchain compliance, cryptocurrency compliance.
So one of my words or one of my phrases is know your client or someone else will, right? So going forward, I think we're going to sort of establish this as a little parlor where we get together on occasions and talk about all these issues around digital compliance and KYC. So going forward on the agenda, what's going to be up next?
I mean, from our perspective, obviously, as we have, to be honest, we have quite scalable services. So the root and the origin of our offering is very much scalable, which means we can not only serve clients in Switzerland, but we are also a very valid partner to serve clients abroad. So one dimension definitely will be internationalization. So we might cover some more local lists or registries on top of the already quite broad coverage we have today. And then obviously we might even push go to market in various new locations. So that's one angle of the strategy, while the second one obviously is to further, I would say, innovate and evolve our core business around digital compliance. There is still a lot where we could add real value.
Yeah, I think, taken from this innovation standpoint, I would like to invite our viewers to, if they have questions around, this whole compliance thing around digital compliance, if there's questions out there, if there's anything you want to know or anything, a topic you'd like to bring up and, sort of have us reflect on that. I mean, just feel free to fling Bruno or myself an email or jot it down in the comments below. So we can pick that up and put it into the future playlist of this digital compliance talk. So, I mean, looking down the route and the next episode, what are we going to be talking about next time, Bruno?
Well, next time is a bit, I would say, a less fancy topic, but still quite important. The FIDLEG regulation, which at the end is the Swiss equivalent of MiFID, is
coming up, yeah.
Exactly, it's coming into full force for external asset managers in Switzerland, as so far they are still in a transition period, and the end of this year, this transition period will end, and they will be obliged to completely fulfill those guidelines. And also there, we are planning some new innovative services to really enable them to stay compliant and be compliant with the FIDLEG regulation. So that's on the agenda for our next talk, and it's also, I would say, on the agenda of our roadmap.
We'll try to find ways to make this really appealing and sexy, even though it isn't. But so there, thank you very much, Bruno, for joining, and looking forward to the next talk. And yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Stephen. It was a pleasure. Talk to you soon.
Y'all have a great day and see you soon. Bye.